You're listening to 91.5 WDBK-FM, Blackwood, Camden County College Radio.
Madness. Total madness.
This is either madness or brilliance.
Trying to make all the madness.
It is now time for Midday Madness.
But it's madness.
WDBK's Midday Show, where the madness is just beginning.
And welcome to 91.5 WDBK for Vinnie's voice. Yes, Midday Madness. I'm here for you for your 1 o'clock hour. Make sure to text into the show. WDBK text line 856-345-9325. Once again, 856-345-9325. Hope everyone's Monday is going absolutely fantastic. We hope everything is going fantastic, right? That's the main hope. But if you're into Philly sports as of recently, then who knows how well your Monday will actually be going. But it's okay. The Flyers may have won, but the Sixers have been throwing me for a loop. And the Eagles, well, we'll get into that in a little bit. What have the Eagles been doing? Well, not playing football. Anything but playing football, as a matter of fact. And that's exactly what we're going to start off with first. Again, utilize our text line. What is your opinion right now on the Eagles offense? I kind of already know what your opinion is, but let's just hear the rants. Let's hear what this Eagles fan base has to say about it. And that's exactly what we're going to be getting into. So a lot of rumors coming out right at the beginning of this week about what could possibly be happening with Kevin Patullo. Now, again, rumors are rumors. Things will happen. Will he be getting fired? Will he not be getting fired? Or will he just be lowered? Will his ranking drop? Will there be somebody brought in to help in the play caller position? A lot of folks, a lot of Eagles fans right now looking for a new outlet. A lot of people going towards the former New York Giants head coach, Brian Daboll. Let's bring Daboll into him. Let's see what Daboll exactly has to offer for this Eagles offense. Can he get them back on track? And that is the big question that a lot of people are asking. And now the big issue I have with this, with bringing in a new coordinator at this point in time, again, you're kind of stuck because in a way you really have no choice. But here's the big issue. Folks, we got through week 13. Week 13's over. We are past the halfway point of the NFL season. We're past it. It's over. So my big issue right now is you waited too long. If you bring in a new play caller, not only will he have to learn the playbook, but you can't necessarily force brand new plays and expect them to magically work in a span of 2 to 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever you want to put it. Guys need to get reps. They need to get rocking and rolling, right? So at this rate specifically, bringing in a new play caller, again, you're kind of stuck. And you're in this position where you continue with this Nick Sirianni, Kevin Patullo disaster that we are looking at right now. And yes, I'm putting Nick Sirianni's name into that. 100% I am. Or you can go out on another limb and hire a brand new offensive coordinator as we head into the week 14 mark. So what do you do in this situation? Well, I think you have no option but to choose the second possible outcome. I don't think there's any option but that. Kevin Patullo has constantly showed his ability to not adjust and to not match opposing teams' defensive ability. He can't adjust in key situations. There have been many times this season where he has performed absolutely incredible in one half, if you're lucky enough to see incredible performances out of the offense, period, in a game. But he has shown multiple times that he can perform well at only certain points of the game. And when I mean certain points of the game, out of a total of a game that lasts around 3 hours, the offense is only fighting for about I may be going a little bit over the limit on this, but maybe around 12 minutes that the Eagles actually have some positive outcomes going on with their offense. We've seen it earlier this season, their first loss of the season, going back to that Denver Broncos loss where the Eagles were up 17-3, Going into the fourth quarter, this offense this season for the Birds has constantly shut down at a specific moment of the game. And not only do they shut down, they implode, they die, and they explode. Whatever you want to call it, whatever destruction, whatever word defines destruction for you, that is exactly what happens with this team. They blew that 17-3 lead going into the fourth quarter, again, against Denver. Even against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Did the Eagles win that? Yes, they won at 31-25. But at a specific point in the game, the Eagles were up, and being specific as possible, in the third quarter, the Eagles led 31-13. The game ended 31-25. The offense, once again, shut down. What happened? And I can use a couple other examples where the Eagles' defense has been keeping them in the game like crazy. If we subtract that first game against the New York Giants, where the Giants absolutely obliterated the Eagles, which was an embarrassment at MetLife Stadium. If we take that game out of the question, this Eagles defense has stood tall at task when needed to. This Eagles defense has stood tall when the offense shows no sign of life, no sign of momentum. This defense finds a way to not just stop an opposing team, but to get the ball back for the offense, and then the offense forgets their name, goes out in the field, takes a dump, and then leaves again. This is exactly what we've been seeing. So this defense has been keeping them in the game. Where have we seen it? Okay, the Detroit Lions game a couple weeks ago. The Green Bay Packers matchup a few weeks ago. These are all examples of it. So this defense for the Eagles has kept the Birds basically rocking and rolling. The only reason that they have 8 wins, matter of fact. Now, again, it's kind of a swap. We were talking about how that Giants game was for the defense, about some bad times. So I'll go to the offense now. The only good and fantastic game where the offense was consistent and playing an actual 4-quarter football game was against the New York Giants at Lincoln Financial Field, where they had that big time, if you want to call it a blowout. In this season for the Eagles, you can call that a blowout because that's about as close as you're probably going to get to one. 38-20, they won. You can even use another example. Again, I said the Denver Broncos game. I said the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game where they blew a substantial lead. Well, yeah. Okay, folks, don't get me wrong. I didn't forget about this. The Dallas Cowboys matchup for the Birds, where they were leading, 21-0 at a certain point in the game in the first half. Oh, yeah, what happened to that? Subtract the first 3 drives of the game, and the Eagles' offense disappeared. So, at the end of the day, at this point in time, I mean, when you look at these malfunctions, again, this should be enough. Jeffrey Lurie needs to step in now because I don't see any movement from this head coach, Nick Sirianni. I don't see any life from this head coach. And this is something where, getting into this next topic, I get criticized, not so much by Eagles fans, but I get criticized from fan bases outside the Eagles organization. What I mean by that, like Dallas fans, Jets fans, Broncos fans, whatever you want to call it. Those people in general. Fans of other NFL teams are usually the ones that are criticizing me for this. And other Eagles fans. Why are Eagles fans so angry with their head coach of Nick Sirianni? He has taken you guys to 2 Super Bowls in the past 3 years. Every single season, he's been the head coach of the Eagles. He has had over a 500 winning percentage. What could Eagles fans possibly be mad about? And I guess coming from a Jets fan, if a Jets fan was to say that to me, I can understand that because the Jets have not experienced pretty much anything but happiness. So I'll give Jets fans that. I'll give Browns fans all that benefit of the doubt. Right, but other fans of the league, why are Eagles fans so mad at Nick Sirianni? He's given you over 500 record. He's done this, and this, 2 Super Bowls in the span of 3 years. Okay, we already said that. I don't mean to repeat myself. But yes, why are Eagles fans so mad? The main issue overall is Nick Sirianni's ability to tackle a problem. We saw this exactly back in 2023. At the beginning of this season, I was so hesitant to kind of compare the 2 seasons. I didn't want to do it. I'll be straight up. And there were Eagles fans from week 2 and 3 that were saying Kevin Patullo needs to go. He's a problem. At that time, I was saying, okay, it's a little early on. Let's give him some time. But I will admit when I'm wrong. I will go to those Eagles fans right now, if you're watching, I will say I was wrong and you were right. I'm man enough to admit when I was wrong, and I was absolutely wrong. I had trust still in Kevin Patullo. It was early on in the season. I said, let's see what this guy's got. He has no prior experience, but still, he's been underneath a winning team since he's been with the Eagles. And, of course, he was with Nick Sirianni back in their days coaching in Indianapolis. So this guy saw how a team's developed. Maybe he has a chance, right? That was my thinking positive moment. When other Eagles fans were saying this guy's not it, I was still thinking positive and saying, this guy, he still has a chance. He could still possibly be something until time told me otherwise, basically, right? So we know Kevin Patullo is an issue, but I really want to bring Nick Sirianni into this. And again, to answer the questions of the opposing team's fans that say, why are Eagles fans so mad at Nick Sirianni? His ability to handle issues. I see a head coach of a football team as a captain of a ship. What is the main, I should say, overall thing that a captain of a ship should do? What is his main job? If a problem arises, to keep your passengers calm, cool, and collected, to keep your crew on the same page, and to basically be in control of the situation, to be in control of the vessel, to try to solve the situation at hand, whatever problem it could be at hand, but to keep calm, to keep your troops together, to keep your crew together, your passengers calm, blah, 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 blah. But overall, it's the main in control of the situation at hand, right? Main kind of job of a captain in a problem situation. With Nick Sirianni, I see it more as if a problem arises, no one's calm, cool, and collected. No one stays together. The team starts going all over every which way right now, as we've seen. What's AJ Brown been doing? What's exactly been going on there? There's been a lot of, you could tell players aren't exactly happy. You could just even see the facial expressions walking off the field. I wouldn't be happy either if I had probably the best offensive roster in the NFL, but have probably one of the worst offensive rankings with a great roster in the league. Especially if you have a stats kind of like this, which is not necessarily great to see, but in terms of offensive success, the Eagles ranked 28th in the league. And yes, I was mentioning New York Jets fans. Well, here's something for a New York Jets fan to feel happy about. Not only did they get a win this week, but the Eagles' offensive success rate is at a lower rate than the New Orleans Saints and the New York Jets. If that's not saying there's a problem, what could possibly else say it? Besides the performance that we're seeing on the field. But that's a problem. And this goes exactly back to that sinking ship I was talking about. Nick Sirianni doesn't see him to be a captain of a ship that keeps his crew calm, cool, and collected, that keeps everyone, calm, that we're going to resolve the situation, and we're going to resolve the situation quick. This is a head coach that shows a bunch of cluelessness when faced with an issue like this. And I'll go right back to that 2023 season. What happened with Brian Johnson? There was an area right there where Nick Sirianni had his fingerprints all over that with the whole Brian Johnson situation. And we've seen it before. When Nick Sirianni, especially if things are not going well with his offensive coordinators, the only reason, in my opinion, if you look at it, that this has been a successful time here in Philly is because of the coordinators that he had at hand. Look what happened when the Eagles were growing and had Shane Steichen. The offense laid in the coordinator's hands. Shane Steichen did an incredible job. It's a shame they couldn't get the big trophy in 2022, but still did an incredible job. Then there was a down year. They hired someone from within the organization, and it went absolutely south. Then when you look at it in there, it looked like Nick Sirianni's offense started to enter the chat once again, which was even worse. And then last year we had Kellen Moore. And if you notice last year, even with Kellen Moore, as successful as that offense was last year, I don't know if any of you guys remember this, but I'll definitely bring this up. There were times where the offense looked like they had no idea what they were doing, especially at the beginning of the season. We remember the Eagles went 2-2 going into the Week 5 bye week last year. But there were times last year where the offense was doing so well, and then it was like something imploded. Something came out of rhythm. And it looked like Nick Sirianni, and it probably was, and I'm sure it was, kind of forced his own type of play calling in certain situations. He would do it in clutch situations. It was funny. And the reason I know it was Nick Sirianni's offense is you just looked at the setup. How the Eagles got down to the red zone last year is, again, the beginning of the season last year, the Eagles were having red zone issues. I don't know if any of you remember that, but they were. And if you looked in clutch situations, you had The Eagles doing a completely different play setup that clearly dismantled the rhythm that they were having in that offense. And something looked haywire. Something looked south. Something looked like it was just like a wire disconnected. Something wasn't connecting right. The electricity was not getting to the laptop there of the Eagles offense, right? Something looked off. And that had Nick Sirianni's fingerprints all over the place. Until he stopped doing that, he gave it looked like the control completely to Kellen Moore, and they did what they had to do. They got the job done. But again, this year, I'm seeing negative on both sides. Again, kind of like something that we saw in 2023, where the offense is not doing great, but it also has Nick Sirianni's fingerprints on it. And again, looking at the history, when Nick Sirianni takes over play calling, it's not great at all. You can even go back to the very, very beginning of his tenure. And back in 2021, when the Eagles went with that 9-8 record, they were doing his play calling at a certain point in time that season. And they ended up giving it over. They ended up switching it off. But again, when you look at the history of when Nick Sirianni is in charge of the play calling for Philadelphia, it's not exactly the greatest thing in the world. It just isn't. And it's been proving itself over and over and over again. So now, again, we're in a cookie. And this is all goes back to what I was describing of Nick Sirianni. Yes, great record of being a head coach of Philly, but when he's faced with a problem or a problem arises, whatever it may be, it doesn't seem like the team gets rocking and rolling, ready to play once again and overcomes a big issue. They kind of fold. They kind of just collapse within themselves. And again, going back to that 2023 season, it was worse in 2023. Some may disagree with me on this, but I feel it was worse in 2023 because not only did you have an offensive coordinator issue, you had a defensive coordinator issue. Remember that whole mess with Sean Desai and Matt Patricia? When Sean Desai was relieved of his duty at defensive coordinator, they brought in Matt Patricia, which was an even bigger mess. But even on that decision, and I know other Eagles fans saw this, and I saw it as well, and if you didn't see it, well, you're about to hear what I saw, right? With that decision on changing defensive coordinators, I think Nick Sirianni had some pressure. I think Jeffrey Lurie or Howie Roseman, one of the higher-ups, stepped in and said, you have to make this change, because otherwise, if one of them didn't step in, I don't think Nick Sirianni would have done it. And yet, here we are again, where I don't want to see the Eagles throw this season away. This was a great start, as it was back in 2023. I don't want to see them throw this away. There is no reason that this offense should be this far down on the ladder in the mid-20s ranking-wise. There's no reason that with the talent this team has on paper with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, don't get me wrong, your offensive line, I understand, it's not as good as it was last year, but still, you have a talented roster. You have probably one of the best, if not the best, running back in the NFL. You also have Tank Bigsby, who is incredible. You have Will Shipley, who is incredible. By the way, where is Tank Bigsby? I know he was seen on special teams a couple of times, but what happened to kind of taking the running backs in and out? Barkley's in for a good number of plays, and you have your other running, and even when you have your other running back in, whoever it may be, Tank Bigsby or Will Shipley, even when they're in the game, you could pretty much guess that they're not going to run it because of just how the play is set up. Again, the plays for this Eagles offense are so easy to read. It's like reading a children's book. It's like reading The Great Pumpkin. There's only 3 words to describe a certain play, and there's only, in football terms, only 3 actions to describe a certain play. And it's read so easy by these opposing teams' defenses. So what's it going to take? That's my question. What is it going to take? I mean, at a certain time, I don't know exactly what to say anymore. This team has gone through so many different issues this season, so many different types of issues. Again, I don't know what it's going to take. I really don't know. And the fact of looking at that stat, ranked 28th in NFL offensive success, behind 2 of the worst teams in the NFL, in the league, being the Saints and the Jets, is unbelievable. And then, of course, with Nick Sirianni coming out post-game saying quotes like this, here we go, we are not changing the play caller, but we are evaluating everything. Oh, geez, Nick, that makes me feel so much better. I'm definitely confident in what you're going to say in the rest of this quote. He continues to say, it's never just about one person. We win as a team and we lose as a team. End quote. I swear, with Nick Sirianni in post-game press conferences, he says the same damn thing every single week, but he words it differently. So it's kind of like this endless circle. When you listen to a Nick Sirianni post-game press conference, I mean, I would run out of words to say to describe my team's performance as well if they played like that. But still, I love it because he describes how he describes it. It's the same thing every single week. He just it's kind of like if you copy and paste something, and like I know it's like some people, they copy and paste something for a work project and they're like, oh, it could be copyright. Let's change some words here and there. That way it sounds like my own writing. It's literally just that. He's copy and pasting his post-game press conferences from previous weeks, changes a few words here and there. Instead of saying, oh, we're looking to get better, we're looking at the situation, he changes it to, but we are evaluating everything. So the confidence, oh my God, hearing that, I am now fully confident now, Nick. I tell you what, but still, if there's one thing I guess I could say I could agree with Sirianni on, it would be it's never just about one person. We win as a team and we lose as a team. Don't get me wrong. Kevin Patullo, not the greatest thing in the world. I don't agree with having him as the play caller, and I think he should honestly be revoked. He should have been lowered in his rankings or if not fired after the game. But no, we don't do that. But the part I will, and I'll give Sirianni justice on this, it's never just about one person. Again, the execution from the Eagles these past games has not been great either. Don't get me wrong. Has not been great. We've seen multiple different mistakes, and there were plays that, again, should have made connection. There were some plays where the drive stopped because of a stupid throw or miscommunication. And, of course, you could all say that goes right back to the head coach, again, not having his players ready to play. Matter of fact, they have not looked like they've been ready to play since I guess you could say that Dallas game where they scored 21 points on the first 3 drives and then forgot what sport they were playing. But again, when you go to not being ready to play, I guess you could go to the head coach there once again. But still, the execution by the players has not been great. Jalen Hurts, as much as I love the guy, has not been playing at all great this season. Has looked awful, especially these past few games. He went from having a perfect QB rating back in week 7 to almost repeating that perfect QB rating the next week against New York to basically just lobbing balls up there looking for his receivers to catch them. Jalen Hurts, this past game, 19 out of 34 overall, 230 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 1 interception and 90.47 QB rating. Both turnovers by the Birds this past game were by Jalen Hurts. One was fumbled on the tush push, which has been a huge issue as of recent. The tush push not doing what a lot of people expected, and as well with the interception, like I just mentioned. So that was the issue in general. But Hurts, the accuracy has not been there. It has not been great. It has not been smooth. And again, you could also go back to the offensive coordinator on this with not having plays designed for this offense to even find any type of rhythm. Where's your motion plays at? Where's your RPOs? What's an RPO? I honestly think if I went to the NovaCare Center right now and said, define me what an RPO is, I don't think anyone from that offensive coaching staff for the Eagles would probably even know what that means. RPO? But when we look at it in the long run, the performance has dropped from Hurts, and there were certain plays where, again, there were some crossing routes. So I remember there was a crossing route by Devontae Smith where when Hurts stepped back, he threw it, but it was behind his receiver. Devontae Smith pretty much had to try to bag. I think he got a hand on it, but the throw, I mean, it just wasn't there. And there were also many times where Hurts overthrows his guys, especially when doing a third down the sideline. So don't get me wrong. I will blame the offensive coordinator. I will blame the head coach. Again, not having your players ready to play, not having an offense and rhythm that can help with this accuracy issue. But plays that should be connected on, plays that should be made aren't being made by this team. aren't being made by the guys out there. The execution is not there. And I also know, and to go back to this Hurts factor, right? I know, and folks, I understand that the offensive line is not at the level it was last year. I will put that out there. I'm not some crazy head that's going to ignore that. I get it. The offensive line, not what it was last year, and it's been an issue and an occurring issue this season. There's been a lot of confusion. They've been dealing with injuries. Again, Lane Johnson's out. Their record without Lane Johnson, folks, I don't have the exact number, but it's not great. That I can tell you. It's way, and I mean way below the 500 mark. They have a ton more losses when Lane Johnson is not in the game. So hopefully he'll be returning soon. But not like that's going to solve all the issues, but still, just something to throw out there. But I get it. They've been dealing with injuries. They've been dealing with a lot of diversity all year, different diversity. We've had issues with Landon Dickerson's back. You've had issues with Cam Jurgens. He's been going in and out with injuries, right? You've had Fred Johnson who's done okay, and then there's other times he's blown. Yeah, there's been blown coverage, right? He hasn't picked up his man. We've also been having a lot of issues with Jordan Mailata. As much as I love him, there's been mistakes made by Mailata, and I'll go to a specific one that happened this past game. Jordan Mailata, there was a play he was supposed to pick up a certain man where he was blocking this certain man, and then all of a sudden let the guy go, and he was looking at Dallas Goedert as if Dallas Goedert was supposed to pick up that guy. And Dallas Goedert was looking back at him with that look kind of like, are you crazy? So the miscommunication is definitely a problem. And again, this is something where it's been brought up by other talk show hosts in the Philly area. But this team, when they come out, they don't look like they're on the same page. A lot of times it looks like they don't even know the play at hand. And you have guys running certain directions, guys missing blocks. You have pretty much a bunch of chickens running around on the field that have their head cut off is what it looks like at certain times. So not only are some of the plays for the Birds so easy to read, so easy to understand, but it's also many times where you have guys running where they're not supposed to. And again, we saw it again from Hurts a few times. Whether this is on Hurts, whether it's on the receiver, whether the play was not relayed properly in his headset, we don't know. But there's been many times as well where a throw has been made and the receiver either turns the wrong direction or he turns and's not expecting the ball yet. It's just the amount of miscommunication this year is crazy. And again, going back to this captain analogy I was talking about earlier on Nick Sirianni, to have your crew calm, cool, and collected on the same page in a problematic situation. I don't see a head coach that has their crew on the same page. I see all but that. I see a head coach that has a crew, but the crew doesn't even know what their jobs are, and they probably don't even know why they were hired. It looks like a situation like that. And we also got quotes after the game from Saquon Barkley, where the sum this up basically said, it looks like the sky is falling on the field, but in the locker room, I have nothing but confidence in the guys here to get the job done. So that was a summary of what Saquon Barkley said after this past Eagles-Bears matchup on Black Friday. Well, I tell you what, I don't want to question Saquon Barkley. I love these guys. I love this team. I will always love this team. But I don't see any confidence. I don't see any confidence in the players. And I know a lot of people could be like, well, how do you not see confidence? You're not in the locker room. I understand that. We're not in the locker room. No one's in the locker room. No one knows what's going in on the locker room. And the matter of fact, there's some things the media should not know because they'd probably make an absolute disgrace out of it. So don't get me wrong. But okay, I understand. We don't know what's going on in the locker room. Okay, that's fine. But what I can tell you is we also can kind of see what's going on in the field. We can see the communication that's going on in the field. Again, the non-existent communication. Guys not knowing the play. Guys turning the wrong way. The ball being released at the wrong time. Or the receiver making the wrong move at a certain time where Hurts thinks the receiver's going one direction to make a play and the receiver runs the other. Or it's just, again, you want to say there's confidence. You want to say this team has confidence right now. I don't see it. I see anything but confidence. I see an offense that's looking like the dang Las Vegas Raiders at this point in time. Las Vegas Raiders. That's deep. But at this point in time, I don't necessarily know where to go. I don't necessarily know what to say. So, I mean, what exactly do you do at this point in time? And I don't think the coaching staff knows, and I think that's part of the problem. What do you do? The cluelessness is real, and it's being shown in a big-time way. We're going to go to a quick break here on 91.5 WDBK. Again, text into the show, 856-345-9325. If you want to give in your opinion on the situation at hand. Again, the Eagles are one big situation, so do not be afraid to text in. If you do indeed text in, leave your name and where you are texting in from. We'll get you out on the air of the show what our great listeners' opinions are. Again, WDBK text line 856-345-9325. We'll be right back. Coming up around the bends will be some more talk slightly on the Eagles defense. We'll be getting into the Sixers and Flyers. Don't you worry. Only on 91.5 WDBK for Vinnie's voice.
Did you know we have a fully equipped fitness center right here on the Blackwood campus? It's true. Located inside Papiana Gymnasium and attached to the basketball court, the Wellspring Fitness Center is dedicated to serving all the health and fitness needs of Camden County College in a welcoming and supportive environment. Our staff of skilled professionals will help newcomers and gym rats alike to reach their goals and to develop a positive, healthy future. Open Monday through Friday, it is free of charge to all students, college personnel, and alumni with a current ID card. Free services include complimentary fitness assessments, exercise technique instruction, and workout programming advice. Stop paying for an out-of-the-way gym membership. Pop in and check it out today.
Camden County College has a dental hygiene program. Our dental hygiene clinic is located on the Blackwood campus where they offer preventative care. Services available include digital x-rays, deep cleanings, fluoride treatments, nutritional counseling, tobacco cessation, plaque control, digital scanning, and comprehensive periodontal evaluation. Patient care at the clinic is managed by experienced dental hygienists and monitored by supervising dentists. The clinic is located in Halpern Hall on the Blackwood campus and is open Monday through Thursday. Please call 856-374-4930 for more information on how to schedule an appointment. The Marlin Gallery at Camden County College presents Echoes of the Inside, an exhibition running October 16th through November 12th, 2025. The exhibit features artwork by individuals with lived experience in the justice system, exploring themes of resilience, identity, and community through drawing, painting, and mixed media. For more information, it is available at camdencc.edu/art/Marlin Art Gallery. 91.5 WDBK-FM has its text line back. You can text in to our student shows at 856-345-WDBK or being 856-345-9325. Join our conversation, and if you have a request, let us know. That's once again 856-345-9325.
Did you know that Camden County College has a dental hygiene clinic? Located at Halpern Hall Suite 107 on the Blackwood campus, the clinic is here to put a sparkle in your smile, with hours being 9 a.m. to noon, 1 to 4 p.m. on Mondays and Wednesdays, and 12:30 to 3:30 p.m. on Thursdays with no morning hours. Remember, these services are offered by appointments only. You can contact the clinic by phone at 856-374-4930. Once again, 856-374-4930 for a smile of a lifetime.
The Accessibility Center provides support services to students with disabilities attending Camden County College. At the Accessibility Center, we strive to create an environment that recognizes differences and builds independence. If you are a student with a disability attending Camden County College, you can connect with the Accessibility Center by calling 856-227-7200, extension 4430, or by emailing accessibilityservice@camdencc.edu. or stop by and visit us on the first floor of Taft Hall.
And welcome back to 91.5 WDBK for Vinnie's voice here for your 1 o'clock hour. Again, don't be afraid to text into the show. WDBK text line 856-345-9325. 9325. Once again, 856-345-9325. What is your opinion at hand? We are currently talking about the Eagles offense, so I'm sure a lot of you have opinions at hand, probably ranting opinions, which is greatly appreciated if you have any ranted opinions, because I'm sure a lot of you do. Again, don't be afraid to text in the show. If you do so, leave your name and the place you're texting in from. That way we can get our incredible listeners' opinions out there on the air. And yes, moving now on, as we talked about a lot of what was going on with the Eagles offense, right? But this is something where now let's go into a little bit on the Eagles defense, right? And this is something where Vic Fangio's unit, unfortunately, we were talking about in this prior segment on how well the Eagles were doing in terms of their overall ability for the defense to hold the birds in the games. To hold the birds in games. Again, close contest. What did we see against the Detroit Lions? What did we see against the Green Bay Packers? You want to talk about close contests? There you go. Two great examples, right? But this is something where overall, I will give them this benefit. Chicago entered this Week 13 week as the second best rushing offense in the league and looked like they were going to, let's just say that a lot of people were thinking they were going to come to a halt. Is Chicago really serious? That was the question entering this game, especially since they have not won in Philadelphia since November 7th of 2011. So there's a quick little nugget to throw out there. Speaking as we are in the home of Nikki's Nuggets right now, our radio station coordinator, right? You can find them over on 97.3 ESPN. So give him a little clock in right there, right? But the unit for Fangio for the Eagles defense, they allowed 281 rushing yards and 425 total yards on the game, including with your passing, your running, right? Chicago was able to log overall 28 first downs, 17 of those being rushing first downs. They were 10 for 17 on third downs, and they were 2 of 3 in the red zone. Overall, having just over 39 minutes in possession of the ball. So Chicago was basically doing they had all the ingredients of a incredible style win. Their offense beat the Eagles with possession. They beat the Eagles in terms of their first downs, their third down conversions, their ability to attack them in the red zone. And another little nugget as well is the Eagles going into this matchup did not allow a single opponent to get over the 100-yard rushing limit. Not a single opponent. Well, that was squashed because they allowed both of the Chicago Bears running backs to get over the 100-yard limit. Kyle Managai, that's one of those tongue twisters that got me back when I was doing my Eagles Chat video. You can find on YouTube, Eagles Chat YouTube channel, right? Can see all the talk on your birds, never miss an update on your birds as well. Make sure to check out the Eagles Chat YouTube channel. But I was doing my show on that, and I absolutely messed up and fell over, twisted my ankle, and broke my leg trying to say his last name. So there you go. Kyle Managai. There we go. 22 carries for 130 yards. He averaged about 5.9 yards to carry, almost 6 yards per carry, 31-yard long, and a touchdown. And another guy, familiar face in the Philadelphia area, especially in the South Jersey area, DeAndre Swift with 18 carries, 5 yards under Kyle's with 125 yards. He had almost a 7-yard average, and 23 yards was his long with also a touchdown. So there you go. Eagles coming into this game, not allowing a single rusher to get over that 100-yard limit. Well, they just allowed 2 running backs in the same game to get over the 100-yard limit. The run defense was not great at all. And as for overall, for the rookie, Kyle, for the Chicago Bears, he was selected at the 233rd pick overall in the 7th round. This is looking to not just be one of the biggest steals in Chicago Bears history, but one of the biggest steals in NFL history. 233rd round pick in the 7th round. 7th round. This guy has been a huge force for the Bears this season. Not only has he been breaking through the gaps for Chicago, But he's been finding the right gaps, his ability to look upfield, his overall mentality, and sensing his surroundings has been definitely something special to watch. Has been, as a matter of fact, incredible to watch, if you want to put it on that note. But overall, was really punishing the Eagles in a big-time key situation. As, again, we saw what he was able to do to the Eagles in the red zone, especially on his one touchdown run that he had. It was definitely something quite interesting to witness, as this guy just, again, continued to pound forward. And the Eagles, again, with their whole defensive setup, linebackers, I mean, this passive-aggressive defense that we as well saw from the Eagles, something that drives me up a crazy, and something where, yes, I'll bring my dad into this. He cannot stand it either. He was not a fan of Jim Schwartz, who was the Eagles defensive coordinator back in the 2017 season when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. But that's for a different time. We can talk about that a little bit later. But the passive-aggressive defense for the Eagles has been an issue, and especially where not just their cornerbacks were positioned, but overall where the linebackers were at was something where this Chicago Bears offense was, let's just say, pushing forward like crazy. Now, overall for the Bears, DeAndre Swift still leads the rush game for the Bears this season with 774 total rushing yards. But right now, you have a rookie who is just behind him at 591 yards on the season with 121 carries. So he has less carries than Swift. Swift at 160, Kyle at 121. But this kid is something special. They both average around the same yards per play. Swift at 4.8, Kyle at 4.9. But still, something really incredible to see. And for Chicago, as they've been looking for any type of positive look in terms of football, it looks like they finally may have it, and we'll see what they do this season. Are they really a serious competitor? We don't know. We'll just have to look and see. But still, something where the Eagles' run D was definitely non-existent, and where head coach Ben Johnson of the Chicago Bears was really trying to, force, as the way that he had this offense running was something still quite beautiful in terms of Chicago to see. But the Eagles' lack to respond was crazy. The 2 turnovers the Eagles had, Chicago made sure to punish them both times, as especially on that tush-push fumble, which almost happened back when the Eagles played it up against the New York Giants back at the first meeting against New York at MetLife Stadium, where the tush-push happened. But again, the tush-push has been something where it really hasn't been as, I guess you could say, incredible, as constant on cue as it was last year. Now, could part of that be because the Eagles are pretty much spamming it? I don't know. It could be. Again, going back to that first meetup the Eagles had this year against the New York Giants, the Eagles did the tush-push 3 straight times in a row in a first-and-goal situation. So if that doesn't define spamming that play, I don't know what does. Again, our playbook seems to be about the size of a pamphlet, so who knows? That could be one of the 10 plays, or excuse me, that's going a little bit above and beyond. One of the 5 plays that Kevin Patullo has written down in his coloring book. But who knows? Who knows? We don't know. That's the big thing. We don't know. But again, the turnovers, I will give, again, the Eagles defense this benefit. And this is something that's been haunting the Eagles defense, and they've been able to manage it. They couldn't quite do so this game, but in previous games, they've been able to manage it, where when the offense makes either a 3-and-out, which we see a lot of, turns the ball over, which is unfortunately that's been going up, or once again, they don't get a 3-and-out, the offense goes 1, 2, 3, they're able to get a first down, then they collapse in the second set of downs. The defense is pretty much being brought out again. You have no momentum, and the defense has to try to stop these guys. And not only do they have no momentum, but a lot of times the Eagles will, again, completely mess up, and they'll be put in a bad field position. Again, in terms of talking about the defense, a lot of times they put the opposing team in great field position. So when looking at this overall, that's a concerning portion of it. That's a concerning part. This is something where you're putting so much pressure on the defense where I'm not even going to put that into play. Did the defense have a bad game? Yes, it wasn't great. The run defense looked like it was non-existent. Did they start to slowly look like they were figuring out as the game went on, especially into that third quarter? Yes, things got a little bit better. There was some pressure there. Don't get me wrong. I will admit that the defense started getting to a little bit of rhythm. But again, it's so hard to get into any type of rhythm when your offense goes out, forgets their name, forgets pretty much everything in their history, gets dementia on the field, and then comes right off again. It's something where it's not easy to do. And I feel bad for this defense. They don't get a lot of rest. They get tired. And you see it as the game goes on. You see these guys start to drop off. The play kind of starts to sag a little bit. And there were good plays made. Jalix Hunt got a great interception, was putting great pressure on Caleb Williams, made him fold. So the defense, again, that came at a point where the Eagles were starting to get a good pressure. What happened with that Jalix Hunt interception? Surely the Eagles would have got momentum from that. Surely the Eagles offense would have gotten momentum from that. No, they didn't. They came out with nothing. So that goes right back into it once again. When the defense does everything that they can, they do everything they possibly can, they get momentum, they get a turnover, they set the offense up with good field position, the offense comes out, and again, like I said before, they forget their name, they forget everything about themselves, and they don't even know what sport they're playing most of the time, possibly because you have a 2-year-old mentality on the sideline trying to coach the team. But that is something completely different. Or is it? We don't know, right? But still, not great to see. The momentum is not there. And for the defense, maybe the only way the Eagles will be able to get a numerous amount of points is if the defense gets a bunch of interceptions, gets some pick six. That'd probably be the only way the Eagles score multiple different touchdowns in a game, is if the defense shows up and ends up having to be the ones to get the points. A fumble recovery to run in for a touchdown, a pick six to run in for a touchdown, anything. Who knows? Who knows? We're going to go to a quick break here on 91.5 WDBK. We'll be kind of doing a spinoff from the Eagles. We'll go into some Sixers, some Flyers talk. Coming around the bend, stay on here on 91.5 WDBK for Vinnie's Voice. Stick around.
Did you know that Camden County College has a food pantry? Camden County College has food pantries open to assist students in need of food and various supplies. For donations or assistance about the pantries, please contact Associate Dean Tenuto at jtenuto@camdencc.edu for food distribution. The marketplace is stocked with monetary and food donations by our college community. You can donate through the marketplace's Amazon wish list, through the foundation, or by stopping by as well. Please consider donating.
Are you aware that Camden County College has an optical clinic located in the Gabriel E. Danch Sim Center, room 119? It is open to faculty, staff, students, and alumni. You can visit the clinic for your prescription eyewear need. They're open Tuesdays from 1 to 4 p.m., Wednesdays from 9 a.m. to noon, and 3:30 to 6:30 p.m., as well as Fridays from 9 a.m. to noon, all until May 1st. The number to call is 856-374-4977. That's 856-374-4977. Visit the optical clinic today.
Hello, my name is Steven.
And my name is Colleen.
And we are dental hygiene students at Camden County College on the Blackwood campus. Did you know that we actually have a dental hygiene clinic on campus?
We sure do. Our clinic hours are Mondays and Wednesdays, 9 a.m. to 12 noon, and 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., as well as Tuesdays, 12:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., Thursdays, 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., and 12:30 to 3:30 p.m.
At our clinic, we offer preventative services such as cleanings, sealants, and different programs such as nutritional counseling, plaque control, and tobacco cessation.
We are located on the Blackwood campus in the Halpern Science Building on the first floor. Our phone number is 856-374-4930.
Please call or stop by to make your smile brighter.
If you are looking to get more involved on Camden County College's campus, there is a way to do that. You can call 856-227-7200 extension 4374 or go to camdencc.edu/student life and clubs and organizations for more information. That is to get involved on campus with student life and activities.
Did you know we have a fully equipped fitness center right here on the Blackwood campus? It's true. Located inside Papiana Gymnasium and attached to the basketball court, the Wellspring Fitness Center is dedicated to serving all the health and fitness needs of Camden County College in a welcoming and supportive environment. Our staff of skilled professionals will help newcomers and gym rats alike to reach their goals and to develop a positive, healthy future. Open Monday through Friday, it is free of charge to all students, college personnel, and alumni with a current ID card. Free services include complimentary fitness assessments, exercise technique instruction, and workout programming advice. Stop paying for an out-of-the-way gym membership. Pop in and check it out today.
And welcome back to 91.5 WDBK-FM here for Vinnie's Voice. No better place to be, no better time to be tuned in live at 91.5. But yes, we just finished up talking on the Eagles offensively, defensively. Wait, the Eagles have an offense? Oh, never mind. Anyway, moving on, right? I promised we'd talk about some Sixers Flyers action. Right now, the Sixers coming off a loss last night where they indeed had a lead for a specific portion of the game, but you know how the Sixers and leads go. They don't go too well together, right? Sixers end up losing at 142-134. They dropped down to 10-9. Hawks, who were the team, Atlanta, that the boys in red and blue were going up against, improved their record to 13-8. Sixers dropped to 9th in the Eastern Conference. It is still very manageable, but again, the Sixers have a chance, and they have the talent. Again, don't get me wrong. This is something similar to what I said about the Eagles, even though they probably don't even recognize what talent is. The Sixers, again, I promise I'll stop talking about the Eagles. Don't worry. The Sixers, they have the talent to do so. But right now, if you want to be a playoff team, you got to be consistent. And this is something where it's still very, very manageable. Again, every single team is pretty much this developed right now. I mean, you look at the division in general. Cut it off at the Pacers, but cut it off at the Hornets. But from the Bucks, who are in 11th place in the Eastern, to the Pistons, the Detroit Pistons, who are usually known very well at the bottom, which have improved very well these past couple of years in terms of picking up guys in the draft and overall trading wise, are now at first. So it goes from, again, the Bucks at 11th place to the Pistons in first. It is still very, very close. Pistons 16-4, Bucks 9-12. The Sixers are in the mix right there at 10-9. Celtics are just ahead of them at 11-9. Then you have the Cavaliers at 12-9, right? The Magic 12-8. So everyone is very close. Between the Pistons and the Bucks, it is a very, very close division. This is something where if you string a couple of wins together, you are right at the top once again. The Sixers need to find consistency. And right now they have been seeing better performances. It's great to see McCain back rocking and rolling again, right, for the boys in red and blue. But that is something that would be great to see. You need to see that type of consistency, and you need to see your leaders of the team stay with the consistent factor. And Tyrese Maxey, again, you want to go to the Sixers, has been at that consistent area. 44 points he picked up last night overall. It's been great to see. He's been absolutely rock and rolling on another level. Quentin Grimes has been performing not too shabby. He came out with 28 points last night, but still, Tyrese Maxey, Quentin Grimes, these have been guys that have been stepping up. And Tyrese Maxey, again, he has taken over for the area of Embiid. Embiid, I don't even know if you want to say that he is a leader at this team anymore. I'm sick of him. I'm done. I had it. I know this may go up against what some other people have to say about him, but I've had it. I'm done with the guy. I think it's time to move on. This is a disgrace. It happens every single year. It's been happening every single year. I've had it. It's over. I'm done. That's it. Period. So we'll see what that whole entire situation brings, right? And then, of course, finally, to close out the show, we'll mention the Flyers, who have been performing at a very, very high rate, performing way above their level. They have a game tonight, 7 o'clock p.m., Battle of Pennsylvania, Flyers, Pittsburgh Penguins. This is going to be something that you're not going to want to miss. Battle of PA, like I said, the boys in orange and black are definitely back. The Broad Street Bully vibes have been back, and it will be in no better place than South Philadelphia. The X will be full tonight. The crowd of 20,000 will be there to support the Flyers. That is absolutely for sure. But we'll see what happens. We'll see if Trevor Zegras, the rest of this team, can continue to perform at a very, very high level. Trevor Zegras has been pretty much almost automatic for the Flyers in his goal-scoring abilities. We'll see what they'll be able to do. Coming off a big-time win against the New Jersey Devils, the Metropolitan is close. It is extremely close. Something where, yes, folks, it is only divided by a span of around 6 points. It's anyone's division. The Flyers have been stringing some wins together. They're on a 3-game winning streak just behind the Washington Capitals. If they get a win tonight, this is how much it means to get victories and how close things are. If the Flyers get a win tonight, they have the ability to jump from 4th place to 2nd place in the Metro. That's how crazy it is. If they get a loss tonight, the Flyers could possibly drop to 6th place in the Metro. So that, folks, should say all that it needs to say about how close this NHL Metropolitan Division is. But that's how it always used to be, and now it's so great to see the Flyers back in the mix once again. We'll see what the boys in orange and black will be able to do tonight. That's it for Vinnie's Voice here on 91.5 WDBK for your Monday, December 1st. We're starting it off on a hot note, and hopefully, again, let's get some more positive vibes in Philadelphia once again. That's all I ask for. That's all I ask for, right, in terms of Philly sports. But that's going to do it for me. Have a good Monday, everyone. If you weren't having a great Monday, I hope this made it even better. If you were already having a great Monday, hopefully it just made the positive levels arise even more. Have a good one, folks, and as always, God bless.
Are you ready to transfer or beginning your transfer research? Then join Transfer Services for a transfer fair at the Camden City campus.
Did you know that Camden County College has a volleyball club? Well, if not, you are in for a treat. This gives students the opportunity to build strength, improve cardiovascular health, burn calories, enhance hand-eye coordination, increase flexibility, and social interactions as well, all while having a blast. The volleyball club runs Mondays and Wednesdays from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. through Monday, December 1st, and is located in the Papiano Gymnasium. Membership applications and physical forms are required, and you can contact the club advisor, Drew Jones Edwards, for more information at djonesedwards@camdencc.edu, or you can come in person to the office at Papiano Gymnasium Suite 100D. And remember, if you want to get in a workout while having a blast, well, remember, the volleyball club is here for you.
Did you know about the TRIO Student Support Services program?